Hey guys, so today we are going to be discussing area. We're going to be learning what area is. We're also just going to be talking about some different equations we can use to calculate area and talking about some different shapes that we can find area for. So let's get started. So what is area? Area is basically the amount of space inside of a two-dimensional shape. So when someone asks you, hey, find the area of this random shape that I'm giving you, they're really just asking how many units is it going to take to fill up this two-dimensional shape that I just gave you. So here I have an example, and it's a rectangle. And we know this is a rectangle because it has four different sides and four different angles, okay? So conveniently, there's some blocks inside, and to find the amount of space and units that is inside of this rectangle, all we have to do is count these blocks. Ready? So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it took 12 of these units to fill up this rectangle. And like I said, that means that the area is 12 units squared. So I don't want you to pay attention to the units squared right now because we're going to talk about it. But what I mainly want you to focus on is this 12 number. So it took 12 of these little blocks. It took 12 of these little units to fill up this rectangle. And that's what area is. So the area of this rectangle was 12 units squared. But what if I gave you a rectangle with 1,000 blocks in it and didn't tell you how many were in there and you had to count each of those to find the area? That would take forever, right? And chances are you're probably going to mess up and miscount once or twice and have to start all over. So there has to be an easier, faster way to calculate area for these shapes. And that's where these equations come in. So we're going to start with a rectangle just because our last and first example was a rectangle. So as you can see, this could be easily counted really fast, and there's 6 little units in here. But I did this just to show you that it doesn't matter whether you count the blocks inside or if you use this equation, you're going to get the same answer. So the equation for area of a rectangle is going to be length times width. So what that means is the distance here on the horizontal part of the rectangle is its length, and we're multiplying the number of units that the length is times its width, which is this vertical distance of the rectangle, right? And so in my example, I see that I have 2 units here. I have 2 centimeters. And now this could be any unit here. This could say unit, but I just chose centimeter for this example. So I have 2 blocks, and then my length is 3 blocks, right? So that's 3 centimeters just to keep the units together, okay? So when I multiply them, if I do 3 times 2, I'm going to get 6 centimeters squared. So this centimeter squared comes from the fact that I'm multiplying this centimeter times this centimeter. So when I multiply something by itself, that's where a square comes in. And again, 2 times 3 or 3 times 2 is 6. So that means that the total area of this rectangle is 6 centimeters squared. All right, now let's look at another type of shape. So here we have a square. We know this is a square because it has 4 4 different sides that are the same length. Okay, so squares are very similar to rectangles, and we could actually use the same equation using length times width. So let's do that. The length here is 4 centimeters. So again, this could be any unit, but I just use centimeters again. So that's 4 of these blocks. And this is also 4 centimeters because it's, they're the same here on the sides. So when I use length times width again, I see that it's 4 times 4, which is 16, right? And then the centimeter squared coming from our units. So the special thing though is I can rewrite this number as 4 squared, right? Because 4 times itself is 16. So when I'm thinking of the area of a square, I'm really just thinking of this side multiplying by itself, or this side squared. So my total area for this square is 16 centimeters. But for any square, I can just use my side squared. And that does it for today. Next time, we're going to be talking about area of triangles and area of circles. I just really wanted to introduce the idea of area to you guys and get you starting to think about it. And when we get into triangles and circles, things can kind of get a little crazy. So I just wanted you to have a good foundation before we get into that. Thank you so much for listening and can't wait to teach you guys again.